We were at chapter 7. We'll continue to read from chapter 8. Good morning. Good morning. Chapter 8 of Little Prince. The Little Prince. Okay, I'll start. Chapter 8. I soon learned to know this flower better. On the Little Prince planet, the flowers had always been very simple. They had only one ring of petals. They took up no room at all. They were a trouble to nobody. One morning, they would appear in the grass, and by night, they would have faded peacefully away. But one day, from a seed blowing from no one knew where, a new flower had come up, and the little prince had watched very closely over this small sprout, which was not like any other small sprouts in his planet. It might, you see, have been a new kind of baobab. The shrub soon stopped growing and began to get ready to produce a flower. The little prince, who was present at the first appearance of a huge bud, felt at once that some sort of miraculous apparition must emerge from it. But the flower was not satisfied to complete the preparations for her beauty in the shelter of her green chamber. She chose her color with care. She dressed her slowly. She adjusted her petals one by one. She did not wish to go out into the world all rumpled like the field poppies. It was only in the full radiance of her beauty that she wished to appear. Oh yes, she was a coquettish creature, and her mysterious adornment lasted for days and days. Then one morning, exactly at sunrise, she suddenly showed herself. Okay, I think this is the rose. The rose in the very popular book. Okay. And after working with all this painstaking precision, she yawned and said, I'm sick. I'm scarcely awake. I beg that you will excuse me. My petals are still all disarranged. But the little prince could not restrain his admiration. Oh, how beautiful you are! And am I not? The flower responded sweetly. And I was born at the same moment as the sun. The little prince could gaze easily enough that she was not into how moving and exciting she was. I think it is time for breakfast, she added an instant later. If you have kindness to think of my needs. And the little prince, completely abashed, went to look for a sprinkle can of fresh water. So he tended the flower. So, too, she began very quickly to torment him with her vanity, which was, if the truth be known, a little difficult to deal with. One day, for instance, when she was speaking of her 4 thorns, she said to the little prince, "Let the tigers come with their claws." "There are no tigers on my planet," the little prince objected. "And anyway, tigers do not eat weeds." "I'm not a weed," the flower replied sweetly. "Please excuse me. I'm not at all afraid of tigers," she went on, "but I have a horror of drafts. I suppose you won't have a scream for me." "A horror of drafts? That is bad luck for a planet," remarked the little prince, and added to himself, "This flower is a very complex creature. At night, I want you to put me under a glass globe. It is very cold where you live, in the place I came from." But she interrupted herself at that point. She had come as if she could not have known anything of any other words. Embarrassed over having let herself be caught on the verge of such a naive untruth, she coughed 2 or 3 times, in order to put the little prince in the wrong. "The screen? I was just going to look for it when you spoke to me." Then she forced her cough a little more, so that he should suffer from remorse just the same. So the little prince, in spite of all the goodwill that was inseparable from his love, had soon come to doubt her. He had taken seriously words which were without importance, and it made him very unhappy. "I ought not to have listened to her," he confided to me one day. "One never ought to listen to the flowers. One should simply look at them and breathe their fragrance. Mine perfumed all my planets, but I did not know how to take pleasure in all her grace. This tale of Claus, which disturbed me so much, should only have filled my heart with tenderness and pity." And he continued his confidences. "The fact is that I did not know how to understand anything. I ought to have judged by deeds and not by words. She cast her fragrance and her radiance over me. I ought never to have run away from her. I ought to have guessed all the affection that lay behind her poor little stratagems. Flowers are so inconsistent, but I was too young to know how to love her." Okay, this is beautiful. I think I read this book before, but I think that was pretty young, so I couldn't possibly understand why the flowers feels like woman. They're demanding, they're giving questions, giving like requirements, like you should take care of me, and I have my clothes, like the songs is like the cloth. I'm not afraid of tigers, but I want to get like screen to protect me when it's cold. And I don't know, I think the little prince is like man, like he thinks everything the rose said should be fulfilled, and she lost the like patience or the delight to just enjoying the fragrance. Like the rose is fragrant, and the little rose is perfumed the whole planet for where the little prince is from. So it's lovely, and the words and the lines go smoothly. I love this one. It's pretty good. Okay, I'll continue. Chapter 9. I believe that for his escape, he took advantage of the migration of a flock of wild birds. On the morning of his departure, he put his planet in perfect order. He carefully cleaned out his active volcanoes. He possessed 2 active volcanoes, and they were very convenient for heating his breakfast in the morning. He also had volcanoes if they are well cleaned out. Volcanoes burn slowly and steadily without any eruptions. Volcanic eruptions are like fires in a chimney. On our Earth, we are obviously much too small to clean our own volcanoes. That is why they bring no end of trouble upon us. The little prince also pulled up, with a certain sense of dejection, the last little shoots of the bulbs. He believed that he would never want to return, but on this last morning all these familiar tasks seemed very precious to him, and when he watered the flower for the last time, and prepared to place her under the shelter of a glass globe. He realized that he was very close to tears. "Goodbye," he said to the flower, but she made no answer. "Goodbye," he said again. Okay, it's a little bit sentimental, like the little prince is going to leave the planet. I don't know if it's like he's not. It seems like he's not coming back, and the rose made no answer to his goodbye. And I don't know. It's kind of sad when the little prince decided to leave his planet for, I don't know, like escape. And so the little prince made me like the narrator. He used to be a little boy, has dreams. He wants to be a painter and paint something, but nobody understands. So he quitted. Then now he's an airplane flyer and flight like he's flying the airplane and he crashed on the desert. That's why they met each other. Okay, the story continues. The flower coughed, but it was not because she had a cold. "I have been silly," she said to him at last. "I ask your forgiveness. Try to be happy." He was surprised by his absence of reproaches. He stood there all bewildered, the glass globe held arrested in mid-air. He did not understand this quiet sweetness. "Of course I love you," the flower said to him. "It is my fault that you have not known it all the while. That is of no importance, but you have just as foolish as I. Try to be happy. Let the glass globe be. I don't want it anymore." "But the wind." "My cold is not so bad as all that. The cool night air will do me good. I am a flower. But the animals, well, I must endure the presence of 2 or 3 caterpillars if I wish to become acquainted with the butterflies. It seems that they are very beautiful, and if not the butterflies and the caterpillars who will call upon me, you will be far away. As for the large animals, I'm not at all afraid of any of them. I have my claws." And naively, she showed her 4 thorns. Then she added, "Don't linger like this. You have decided to go away. Now go." For she did not want him to see her crying. She was such a proud flower. Okay, this is cute. Like, usually the flower asks for a glass globe to protect herself when the little prince is around. But as the little prince is going away, she said, "You can take the glass globe. I don't need them anymore. And I want to be acquainted with butterflies, even though there is a chance I will meet some caterpillars and some animals will hurt me, but I'm not afraid. I have my 4 thorns. The thorns is like cloud. Take care of myself." Okay, I think that's the most sweet goodbye among those like books I've read. That's pretty cute. I must endure the presence of 2 caterpillars. I wish to become acquainted with the bugs. Okay, it's like to go some tortures, or you have to meet some obstacles along the way. But that's something you're experiencing in your life. Along the life, you won't always just have something good. You'll always be prepared to have something bad happening to you, but you're okay with it. You have your thorns, like the rose. Hope you do too. Okay. Now let's continue. It's chapter 10. He found himself in the neighborhood of the asteroids 325, 326, 327, 328, 329, and 330. He began therefore by visiting them in order to aid to his knowledge. The first of them was inhabited by a king. Where's the capacity control? I needed to check the electricity. Okay, the electricity got cut off. I don't hope it still works. Okay, I'll just read this way. The first of them was inhabited by a king, clad in royal purple and ermine. He was seated upon a throne, which was at the same time both simple and majestic. Here is a subject. Little Prince simplified and subjects. Approach, so that I may see you better, said the king, who felt consumably proud of being at last a king over somebody. The little prince looked everywhere to find a place to sit down, but the entire planet was cramped and obstructed by the king's magnificent ermine robe. So he remained standing upright, and since he was tired, he yawned. It is contrary to etiquette, the monarchy. They forbid you so. Okay, it's like the prince literature, and he went to different different asteroids. It's like different planet, different stars, and he made a majestic king, and the king is finally someone's king, and the king is demanding the little prince as the object, as the subject. I think as the subject. Everyone is a subject to the king. So the king is like happy about his power. Okay, let's see what is happening. I can't help it. I can't stop myself, replied the little prince, thoroughly embarrassed. I have come on a long journey, and I have had no sleep. And then the king said, I order you to yawn. It is years I order you to yawn. It is years since I have seen anyone yawning. Yawns to me are objects of curiosity. Yawn is an order. That frightens me. I can't anymore, murmured the little prince, now completely abashed. Replied the king. Then I order something you yawn. I order you sometimes to yawn and sometimes to... He sputtered a little and seemed vexed. For what the king fundamentally insisted upon was that his authority should be respected. He tolerated no disobedience. He was an absolute monarchy, but because he was a very good man, he made his orders reasonable. Okay. Okay, the electricity is back. It's great. Reasonable. So, if I ordered a general, he would say, by way of example, if I ordered a general to change himself into a seabird, and if the general did not obey me, that would not be the fault of the general. it would be my fault. May I sit down? Came down a timid inquiry from the little prince. I order you to do so, the king answered him, and majestically gathered in a fold of his ermine mantle. But the little prince was wondering. The planet was a world could easily rule. Sir, he said to him, I beg that you will excuse my asking you a question. Sir, I beg you that you will excuse me asking you a question. Asked him, Sir, over everything, said the king, with magnificent simplicity. Over everything? The king made a gesture which took in his planet, the other planets, and all the stars. Over all that? Asked the little prince. Over all that, the king answered. For his rule was not only absolute, it was also universal. And the stars obey you. Certainly they do, the king said. They obey instantly. I do not permit insubordination. I do not permit insubordination. Such power was a thing for the little prince to marvel at. If he had been master of such complete authority, he would have been able to watch the sunset not 44 times in one day, but 72 or even 100 or even 200 times, without ever having to move his chair. And because he felt a bit sad as he remembered his little planet, which he had forsaken, he plucked up his courage to ask the king a favor. I should like to see a sunset. Do me that kindness. Order the sun to set. If I ordered a general to fly from one flower to another like a butterfly, or to write a tragic drama, or to change himself into a seabird, and if the general did not carry out the order that he had received, which one of us would be in the wrong? The king demanded. The general or myself? You, said the little prince firmly. Exactly. One must require from each one the duty which each one can perform. The king went on. Accepted authority rests first of all on reason. If you ordered your people to go and throw themselves into the sea, they would rise up in revolution. I have the right to require obedience because my orders are reasonable. Then my son said, the little prince reminded him, for he never forgot a question once he had asked it. You shall have your sunset. I shall command it, but according to my science of government, I shall wait until conditions are favorable. When will that be? Inquired the little prince. Replied the king. And before saying anything else, he consulted a bulky almanac. That will be about this evening, about 20 minutes to 8, and you will see how well I am obeyed. Okay, this is cute. Like the little prince who lives on the tiny little planet, and he can move his chairs easily, and he can see like 40 something sunset in one day. And when he landed in this planet, I think the first planet, the first asteroid is 325. He met with one, like the majestic king. And the planet is very small, but the king says he's ruling everything. He liked the feeling of in control and the power. But the king is sensible. Like he said, he can order his people to do something. that scientifically accept approval. But if you want to see the sunset now, that's not possible. But I can still do that. You need to wait to like 20 minutes to 8, like then you can see the sunset. It's pretty funny. It's like two men's talk. Like I know it seems like they're talking about things they care, like the little prince. The little prince, he cares about the sunsets and he enjoys the moment. He's like viewing sunsets, and the king from this star, he's obsessed with power. So, but he's not completely losing his mind, and he's still like sensible with science and stuff. And he's pretty funny. He's like acting like everything is according to his order, but actually those things are according to the natural rhythm. Okay, I'll continue. The little prince yawned. He was regretting his lost sunset, and then too he was already beginning to be a little bored. I have nothing more to do here, he said to the king, so I shall set out on my way again. Do not go, said the king, who was very proud of having a subject. Do not go. I will make you a minister. Minister of what? Minister of justice. But there's nobody here to judge. We do not know that, the king said to him. I have not yet made a complete tour of my kingdom. I am very old. There is no room here for a carriage, and it ties me to walk. Oh, but I have looked already, said the little prince, turning around to give one more glance to the other side of the planet. On that side, as on this, there was nobody at all. Then you shall judge yourself, the king answered. That is the most difficult thing of all. It is much more difficult to judge oneself than to judge others. If you succeed in judging yourself rightly, then you are indeed a man of true wisdom. Yes, said the little prince, but I can judge myself anywhere. I do not need to live on this planet. Said the king. I have good reason to believe that somewhere on my planet there is an old rat. I hear him at night. You can judge this old rat. From time to time, you will condemn him to death. Thus, his life will depend on your justice. But you will pardon him on each occasion, for he must be treated thriftily. He is the only one we have. I, replied the little prince, do not like to condemn anyone to death, and now I think I will go on my way. No, said the king. But little prince had now completed his preparations for departure, had no wish to grieve the old monarchy. If your majesty wishes to be promptly obeyed, he said, he should be able to give me a reasonable order. He should be able, for example, to order me to be gone by the end of 1 minute. It seems to me that conditions are favorable. As the king made no answer, the little prince hesitated a moment. Then, with a sign, he took his leave. I make you my ambassador, the king called out hastily. He had a magnificent air of authority. The grown-ups are very strange, the little prince said to himself as he continued on his journey. Okay, this is the first experience, adventure of the little prince ever since after he left his own planet. That planet is very small. He landed to another planet. That planet is very small too. The first planet is only go like the majestic king, and he is all alone, all lonely. Probably there's a old rat something on that planet too, but that planet is too small, and the little prince didn't see any reason to live there, to stay there, since there's no sense of ruling everyone, since there's nobody to rule. Okay, and I mean, it's not the little prince's aspiration to rule people, but the older king, he seems enjoying that a lot. I don't know. I think it's it's a type of sarcasm about thinking about the older king as like some man, and he's like is so obsessed with his power over the family, for example. Like he can like manipulate everyone to obey his rules, but actually there's no one to rule or nothing to rule over family. A family should be someplace like equally loved between the members. Okay, that's my understanding. I don't know if you, how do you think this part? Okay, let's continue with the adventure with the Little Prince. Chapter 11. The second planet was inhabited by a conceited man. I'm about to receive a visit from an admirer, he exclaimed from afar when he first saw the little prince coming. For to conceited men, all other men are admirers. Good morning, said the little prince. That is a queer hat you're wearing. It is a hat for salutes, the conceited man replied. It is to raise in salute when people acclaim me. Unfortunately, nobody at all ever passes this way. Yes, said the little prince, who did not understand what the conceited man was talking about. Clap your hands, one against the other, the conceited man now directed him. The little prince clapped his hands. The conceited man raised his hat in a modest salute. This is more entertaining than a visit to the king, the little prince said to himself, and he began again to clap his hands, one against the other. The conceited man again raised his hat in salute. The conceited man, like, okay, this is cute. Like the man imagines everybody coming to him is going to admire him. So he asked the little prince to clap his hands to him, and he feels happy that way. And the little prince feels like, okay, it's much better than the old king who asked me to obey his rules to some stupid, stupid nothing. So we'll continue this part. After 5 minutes of this exercise, the little prince grew tired of the game's monotony. And what should one do to make the hat? What should one do to make the hat come down? He asked. But the conceited man did not hear him. Conceited man never hear anything but praise. Do you regard me very much? He demanded the little prince. What does that mean, admire? To admire means that you regard me as the handsomest, the best dressed, the richest, and the most intelligent man on this planet. But you are the only man on your planet. Do me this kindness, admire me just the same. I admire you, said the little prince, shrugging his shoulders slightly. But what is there in that to interest you so much? And the little prince went away. The grown-ups are certainly very old, he said to himself as he continued on his journey. Okay, this is Little Prince's second adventure on a planet where the planet is also very small and inhabited with one single man. He's very conceited and he wants the admirations from everybody. And he thinks he's the most handsome, the most rich, and the most funny, and everything about him. But he's lonely. So the little prince thinks like adults are all very old. And the book Little Prince is about, it's about kids versus adults. Why are they different? Even though everybody is growing old from little kids. And what have you lost along the way? what have we lost? And I think the Little Prince is taking us on this journey of discovering the child side inside of everyone. And I hope they'll give you some inspirations. Okay, I'll continue. Chapter 12. It was short, but the tickler, whom he found settled down in silence before a collection of empty bottles, and also a collection full bottles. I'm drinking, replied the tickler with a lugubrious air. Why are you drinking? Demanded the little prince. So that I may forget, replied the tickler. Forget what? Replied the little prince, who already was sorry for him. Forget that I am ashamed, the tickler confessed, hanging his head. Ashamed of what? Insisted the little prince. Him. Ashamed of drinking. The tickler brought his speech to an end and shut himself up in an impregnable silence. Impregnable silence. And went away puzzled. The grown-ups are certainly very, very old, he said to himself as he continued on his journey. Okay, this tickler is very funny. It reminds me like old adults, like they say they need to exercise, they need to quit doing something, but they're repeating that. They said, oh, okay, I can't. The tickler say I can't drink because he knows drinking is wrong. But the way he's stopping himself from drinking is drinking more. So, I don't know. I think a lot of people, they are living in these like cycles. They can't break through. Like they want to go exercise, but they feel tired every day, so they don't go to exercise. So they feel even more tired, so they can't bring the courage to do exercise. So it's like they are living in this circle. They can't break through. Their life is like repeating itself, like, and he's not like enjoying the repetitive, of course, like, but if you have a good repetition, like you enjoy exercise, you go to exercise, you feel energetic, then you live the day great, then you want more exercise. That's like a good cycle. So but it's not easy to build any habit, like good habit, to motivate yourself, to prepare yourself to go through each day. Because life is over a repetition. It's like today will feel like tomorrow will feel like exactly the same as today. But if every day you're doing something that's every day, you're drinking yourself to death, and the other day you're more tipsy, you feel more like horrible about yourself. The feeling about yourself is really bad. So you need to drink more to forget about your stupidity. So that's old. That's Little Prince point of view. Adults are all old, but why we are growing into old adults? Like for kids, they can see this easily, but you just kind of forget of it. And we are living in this like miserable lifestyle. Okay, we will continue with the journey with the Little Prince, and we are on chapter 13. The fourth planet belonged to a businessman. This man was so much occupied that he did not even raise his head at the Little Prince's arrival. Good morning, the Little Prince said to him. Your secret has gone out. 3 and 2 make 5. 5 and 7 make 12. 12 and 3 make 15. Good morning. 15 and 7 make 22. 22 and 6 make 28. I haven't time to light it again. 26 and 5 make 31. Then that makes 501 million. 622,731. 500 million what? Asked the Little Prince. Are you still there? 501 million. I can't stop. I have so much to do. I'm concerned with matters of consequence. I don't amuse myself with balderdash. 2 and 5 make 7. 501 million what? Repeated the Little Prince, who never in his life had let go of a question once he had asked it. Okay, this is cute. It's like the kid. The kid is like someone who never in his life had let go of a question once he had asked it. Like if you have a kid around you, you'll notice that they're asking these questions and they have to have the answers. You have to give them the answers. And if the answer is not to their satisfaction, they will continue asking more questions. I think you'll have this feeling if you ever get acquainted with a kid or whatever. My nephew is asking me millions of questions every day, and you have to take that questions serious. Most of the time you have to. If you are give him something jumping to your mind, then he will notice the kids are smarter than us. Okay. Okay, I continue. If you have your thoughts toward this book or whatever, just comment. Okay, we can talk. The businessman raised his head. During the 54 years that I have inhabited this planet, I have been disturbed only 3 times. The first time was 22 years ago, when some giddy goose fell from goddess nose everywhere. A goddess good nowhere. Most rubbish all over the place, and I 4 mistakes even. I'm 11. I was by of room. I don't get enough aside. I have no time for loafing. The third time, well, this is it. I was saying in 501 millions.